Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Xinhua Live. I am Mike, and on behalf of Xinhua News Agency, I want to wish all of our viewers a very happy Year of the Dog. Right now, I am at the Temple Fair in Beijing's Grand View Garden, or Daguanyuan. Today is the 5th day of the Chinese Lunar New Year. In feudal times, Chinese New Year was a time for family reunions, both at the husband's family as well as a time for married daughters to visit their birth parents, relatives, and close friends. Sometimes they would also bring their husbands with them. They bring gifts and red envelopes for their children in their parents' homes. And daughters and sons-in-laws should have lunch in their parents' home. Traditionally, married daughters didn't have the opportunity to visit their birth families frequently. In a short while, we will see a historical performance that is related to this custom. But first, let's take a look at the setting. This garden has its roots in classical Chinese literature. For all you bookworms out there, maybe you are familiar with the Qing Dynasty novel Dream of the Red Chamber, one of the 4 ancient Chinese classical masterpieces. If so, you might have been impressed by the descriptions of the luxurious grandeur of Grandview Garden, also known as Daguanyuan in Chinese. This is the garden in which Granny Liu from the countryside, a character in the story, hilariously became giddy with joy and staggers about drunkenly when touring it for the first time. If you don't know the story, that's okay too, as Xinhua Live will take you on a tour of this splendid garden today. Using the description in the novel Dream of the Red Chamber as a guide, the Grandview Garden was created in the 1980s in the Chinese capital Beijing. Initially, it was used as the filming location for the TV series of the same name, starring Chen Xiaoxu and Ouyang Fenqiang. It integrates man-made features and natural scenery into a harmonious whole. It has become an important tourist attraction in the city. Part of the story tells how the eldest daughter of the aristocratic Jia family, Yuan Chun, became an imperial concubine and went to live in the imperial palace. The emperor commanded the creation of the Grandview Garden in the Jia residence as a place for her to live when she visited home. This fictional garden and its actual recreation is a unique classical one that is representative of Qing Dynasty architecture. Today, we are going to witness a reenactment of the scene when the imperial concubine Yuan Chun returns from the imperial palace to visit her beloved family at the newly built Grandview Garden. In imperial China, once women are married into the royal family, they rarely have the occasion to visit their families, needing special permission from the emperor to do so. One can imagine the loneliness of imperial concubines, for the emperor has dozens or even hundreds of consorts, and these ladies in the palace may not see their husband for up to months at a time, or if they're really unpopular, years. So Yuan Chun's visit home to reunite with her birth family is an emotional, nostalgic, and heartwarming trip. However, as we can see later, because Yuan Chun's social status has changed from being simply a daughter of this household to the consort of the emperor, her parents and grandmother have to kowtow and pay their respects to her instead of the other way around. We'll see how Yuan Chun reacts to this change in her relationship with her family in just a moment. The Grandview Garden Temple Fair is a famous cultural event to all Beijingers. Since 1996, it has been held annually in the first month of the Chinese lunar calendar to celebrate the Chinese New Year. During the Temple Fair, visitors can watch the scene play adapted from the book Dream of the Red Chamber. Intangible cultural heritage, including face masks, sugar figurines, shadow play, and paper cuts, will be exhibited. Generally, the entrance fee is 40 yuan per person. The Grandview Garden in Beijing also has a sister complex in Shanghai with the same name. As I mentioned earlier, during the Chinese New Year, sometimes married women would bring their husbands home with them when visiting their parents' house. But in Yuanchun's case, since her husband is the emperor, he did not accompany her. He has too many wives, it would be impossible for him to visit all of the imperial in-laws. And plus, it's not only the empress and imperial consorts who have difficulties leaving the palace. The imperial system also places great restrictions on the emperor, who doesn't have the freedom of mobility and is often described as living in a gilded cage. To leave the palace would require the approval of many layers of bureaucracy, as well as the imperial guard. The Grandview Garden itself is really an architectural masterpiece. Covering an area of 32 acres or 13 hectares, with more than 40 scenic spots set within it, it has been skillfully designed in Qing Dynasty style. It has various classical buildings, such as palaces, pavilions, cloisters, courtyards, water features, rockeries, as well as a nunnery. The landscape has delicate hills, peculiar stones, fragrant flowers, and exuberant trees where you can hear the sweet singing of birds and the occasional sound of cranes and deer. It is truly as depicted in the novel, A Paradise on Earth. Perhaps the most attractive parts are the courtyards which replicate the residences of the main members of the Jia family. These range from the magnificent to the humble, the elegant to the simple, and the green to the white, each revealing the personality of the various characters who would have occupied them and enabling you to feel firsthand the ambience in which the love and political affairs of this Qing Dynasty noble family. The Red Mansion exhibition is the main display of the Beijing Red Mansion Culture and Art Museum, where it is possible to study in detail the rich and intensive novel Dream of the Red Chamber. In addition, activities held in it include performances like the imperial concubine Yuan visiting her parents' home, as well as a Grandview Garden Mid-Autumn Night and a temple fair. All have won critical acclaim and have provoked tourists to become interested in the novel Dream of the Red Chamber. This garden is not only a delight to the eyes, but also provides a feast for your appetite. The Grandview Garden Restaurant is an elegant setting for dinner where you can enjoy a delicious meal in an environment that exudes the glories of a past era. This garden is a real treasury of China's culture and its heritage, where you can explore various man-made features alongside natural beauty, and it is a great place to study the novel Dream of the Red Chamber. It offers a warm welcome to admirers of the great traditions of Chinese gardens, from home and abroad, who will certainly be delighted by their visit. As you can see, the imperial procession of the consort Yuanchun is taking place. As you can see, the imperial procession of the consort Yuanchun is taking place. As you can see, the imperial procession of the consort Yuanchun is taking place. It is really a grand affair, and you can see her being carried into the Grandview Garden in a sedan chair, also known as a palanquin, by her entire imperial staff, who is also performing the marching music, and they are marching over the bridges in various pavilions to go into the main residence of the Jia family, where the grandmother, or the matriarch of the family, is waiting for them. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining us just now, we are in the Grandview Garden Temple Fair. The garden was built according to the descriptions of the fictional garden in the novel A Dream of Red Chambers, which is one of the 4 famous Chinese novels, the others being Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Water Margin, and Journey to the West. This important literary work, written by Cao Xueqin, follows the tragic love story between Jia Baoyu and Lin Daiyu and depicts the entanglement and conflicts between the fathers and the sons, the brothers, wives, and concubines, masters, and servants. The saga depicts actual circumstances of the nature of Chinese feudal society. In the novel, Jia Yuanchun, eldest daughter of the Jia family, is conferred as the Yuan imperial concubine, and an extremely luxurious garden was built for her to live during her visit home. Hence, the garden becomes the site where the tragic stories unfold. Today, we are witnessing a reenactment of the scene where Yuanchun visits the garden from the palace. If you are joining us just now, we are in the Grandview Garden Temple Fair. The garden was built according to the descriptions of the fictional garden in the novel A Dream of Red Chambers, which is one of the 4 famous Chinese novels. Now, again, we are witnessing the reenactment of the scene where the imperial concubine Yuanchun returns home from the imperial palace to visit her beloved family at the newly built Grandview Garden. In imperial China, once women are married into the royal family, they rarely have the occasion to visit their families, needing special permission from the emperor to do so. So we can imagine the loneliness of the imperial concubines, for the emperor has dozens or even hundreds of consorts, and the ladies in the palace may not see their husband for up to months at a time, or if they're really unpopular, years. So Yuanchun's visit home to reunite with her birth family is really an emotional, nostalgic, and heartwarming trip. However, as we can see later, because Yuanchun's social status has changed from being simply a daughter of this household to the consort of the emperor, her parents and grandmother would have to kowtow to her and pay their respects instead of the other way around. And now we're also seeing some artistic performances. The imperial procession is traveling underneath a tightrope biker. Wow, that is really amazing. And over to the right side are some drummers. So this temple fair at the Grandview Garden has all sorts of fun activities. Of course, the highlight right now is the returning of the consort Yuanchun based off of the imperial novel Dream of the Red Chamber. This garden was also the filming set for the 1980s TV series of the same name. Now, using the description in the novel Dream of the Red Chamber as a guide, this garden was created in the 1980s here in the Chinese capital of Beijing. Initially, it was used as the filming location for the TV series starring Chen Xiaoxu and Ouyang Fenxiang. As you can see, it integrates man-made features and natural scenery into a harmonious whole. It has become an important tourist attraction in the city. The Grandview Garden Temple Fair is a famous cultural event to all Beijingers. Since 1996, it has been held annually in the first month of the Chinese Lunar New Year to celebrate the Chinese New Year. During the temple fair, visitors can watch the scene play adapted from the book Dream of the Red Chamber, as we are doing so right now. And there will also be a variety of intangible cultural heritage, including face masks, sugar figurines, shadow play, and paper cuts. And here we see that Yuanchuan has reunited with her family. And we can go take a look at some of the other events taking place in the Grandview Garden. Alright, over here we have the traditional Beijing clay figurines. 你好，您可不可以给大家介绍一下您的这些艺术？
我这是从小时候就一直做这个面人，对这个事业就特别爱好。所以说我今年都70多了，一直钻研的到现在。反正我这个得过奖，这非遗，这民间工艺大师，你看我的资料。
Alright, so this gentleman here is in his 70s and he is one of the heirs to this traditional folk art of clay figurines, and he is an award-winning clay figurine maker. And you can see his biography over here on this side. And all of the various different characters, a lot of them from traditional Chinese folklore. For example, over here, this is the Monkey King, Sun Wukong. And this is the piggy, Zhu Bajie. And also animals from the Chinese zodiac. Oh, this is really interesting. This is the Tu Ye, which is the rabbit god, and he is the patron god of Beijing.
请问这个兔爷有什么讲究？
它寓意不一样，虎的吧最原始的镇宅辟邪、祛病保平安的，象的吉祥如意，麒麟是麒麟送子，孩子学业有成。
All right, so you see all the little bunny gods are riding on different animals. So for the tiger, it means that this will make your house very safe. This one is a mythical creature called the Kirin, and that is to ensure that your children would get good grades in school. And the elephant brings auspiciousness.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this Xinhua live broadcast. We hope you have enjoyed touring the Grandview Garden with us and seeing the imperial concubine Yuan reunite with her birth family. See you all next time and hope you all have a prosperous new year of the dog.